20 games with actually good open worlds. Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs is one of those open world games that feels like it got overlooked, but man, it's such a gem. Set in a detailed and lively version of Hong Kong, it's got this gritty, vibrant vibe that makes the world feel alive. You play as Wei Shen, an undercover cop trying to bring down the triads, and the story pulls you right into the chaos of balancing loyalty and duty. The world is the first thing that hooked me. Hong Kong in this game feels real. The narrow alleyways, bustling street markets, neon lit signs reflecting off puddles, it's all so immersive. Just driving around the city or wandering through a market feels engaging even when you're not chasing a mission. The combat is where it really shines. It's all about hand-to-hand fighting, and it's so satisfying. You're throwing punches, pulling off combos, and using the environment in brutal ways. Slamming a guy into a phone booth or hurling him into an aquarium never gets old. The driving is surprisingly good too, whether you're in a high-speed chase or just cruising through the city. The story kept me hooked the whole way through. Wei's struggle between being a cop and getting in too deep with the triads makes for some great tension, and the characters around him feel real. The way they mix humor, drama, and some truly intense moments reminded me a little of a great action movie. There's also a ton to do outside the main story. You can jump into street races, bust heads in martial arts tournaments, or even just hit up a karaoke bar for some laughs. None of it feels forced, it all adds to the world and helps you feel like a part of it. Sleeping Dogs might not be as flashy as some other open world games, but it nails the details. It's one of those games where you can tell the developers cared about getting the world and the vibe just right. If you've ever wanted to dive into a gritty crime story with killer combat and a world that feels alive, this one's a must play. I had such a good time with it, and it's a game I always recommend when people are looking for something a little different. Lost Judgment. Lost Judgment is the kind of open world game that feels like it was made with care. It's not the biggest or the most sprawling, but every inch of it feels alive and packed with personality. You play as Takayuki Yagami, a private detective juggling murder mysteries, high school drama, and a whole lot of street fights. It's a mix of intense storytelling and a world that's just so fun to mess around in. The cities of Kamurocho and Izaki Ijincho are small compared to other open world games, but they're dense with detail. Every street feels distinct, from neon-drenched alleys to cozy bars, and there's always something happening around you. I spent hours just wandering around, checking out shops, playing arcade games, and stumbling into weird side cases. The world doesn't just exist for you to pass through, it feels like a place you live in. Combat is fast and fluid, and switching between Yagami's fighting styles adds a nice layer of strategy. You've got a mix of quick strikes, heavy hits, and crowd control moves, and you'll need all of them for the constant street brawls. It's fun, flashy, and always satisfying to pull off a perfect combo or take down a group of punks with style. What really stands out are the side activities and school stories. One moment you're deep in a murder investigation, and the next you're infiltrating a dance club or solving mysteries for a robotics team. It's a wild mix, but it works. The school stories are some of the best parts of the game. They're funny, heartfelt, and surprisingly deep. The main story is a roller coaster. It tackles heavy themes like bullying and justice, but it never feels preachy. Yagami is a great lead, and the supporting cast makes the narrative even stronger. The twists kept me guessing, and by the end, I felt like I'd been through an emotional journey. If you're into open world games that focus on detail and storytelling over sheer size, Lost Judgment is perfect. It's got heart, humor, and a ton of things to keep you busy. Whether you're solving cases, beating up thugs, or just exploring the city, it's one of those games that feels personal and engaging. Stalker 2: Heart of Chornobyl. Stalker 2: Heart of Chornobyl isn't just an open world game, it feels like you're stepping into a living, breathing nightmare. Set in the exclusion zone around Chernobyl, the world is eerie, unpredictable, and full of danger. You play as a stalker, exploring this radioactive wasteland in search of rare artifacts while trying to survive mutants, anomalies, and desperate humans. The zone itself is unforgettable. It's not massive like other open world games, but it doesn't need to be. Every inch of it is packed with tension. You never know know what's around the corner. Anomalies might fry you in seconds, mutants could leap out of nowhere, or another stalker might decide to take you down for your gear. The atmosphere is incredible, from the sound of distant thunder to the creepy silence that makes you constantly look over your shoulder. Exploration feels raw and rewarding. The game doesn't guide you much, so you're left to figure things out on your own. That's part of the thrill. You'll scavenge for supplies, find hidden stashes, and pick up bits of lore that help piece together the mystery of the zone. Every step forward feels like an achievement, especially when you survive a blowout storm or make it back to safety with a valuable artifact. Combat is brutal and unforgiving. Bullets are precious and every fight feels tense. Whether you're battling mutants or other stalkers, you need to think carefully about how to approach each situation. It's not about running and guns blazing, it's about making every shot count and staying alive. The inventory system adds to the challenge. You're always managing weight, supplies, and deciding what's worth carrying. The story is dark and full of moral gray areas. You'll meet characters who are just trying to survive, and their struggles make the zone feel more human. The choices you make aren't always clear-cut, and that adds weight to every decision. Stalker 2 is more than just a game, it's an experience that stays with you. The mix of survival, exploration, and atmosphere makes it feel real in a way most games can't match. It's tough, it's haunting, and it's one of those open worlds you'll never forget. Yakuza Like a Dragon. Yakuza Like a Dragon flips the script on the Yakuza series in the best way. This time you step into the shoes of Ichiban Kasuga, a lovable underdog with a heart of gold and a knack for getting into wild situations. The game trades the classic brawler combat for turn-based RPG battles, but it keeps all the charm, drama, and chaos that makes this series so special. The city of Yokohama is the perfect playground. It's vibrant and packed with life, from bustling streets to shady back alleys. Everywhere you go, there's something to do: karaoke bars, arcades, even a hilariously over-the-top kart racing game. It feels like a real place, but with that extra layer of ridiculousness that makes it pure Yakuza. The combat is surprisingly fresh for a turn-based system. Ichiban sees the world like a JRPG, so fights are full of quirky, over-the-top moves. You're summoning crayfish to attack enemies, smacking people with umbrellas, or using tag team combos with your party. It's silly, sure, but it works, and the strategy adds a fun new layer to battles. Building your party and customizing their jobs, think RPG classes, but Wilder keeps things interesting. The story hits all the emotional beats you'd expect from a Yakuza game. Ichiban's journey from a loyal foot soldier to a man fighting for justice is packed with twists, heartbreak, and moments that make you cheer for him. What makes it stand out is how much heart it has. Ichiban is such a different kind of protagonist. He's goofy, optimistic, and endlessly loyal to his friends, which makes his struggles feel even more personal. The side quests are classic Yakuza, are hilarious and oddly touching. One minute you're helping a man reunite with his lost crawfish, the next you're taking down a cult. It's all part of the game's charm. The bond you build with your party members also adds depth, with personal side stories that make them feel like real people. If you're new to the series, Like a Dragon is a great starting point. It's different enough to stand on its own while still capturing the spirit of what makes Yakuza so beloved. It's funny, heartfelt, and packed with things to do. Whether you're here for the drama or just want to hang out in Yokohama, this game has you covered. Watch Dogs 2. Watch Dogs 2 is the game where Ubisoft figured out how to let loose and have some fun. You're Marcus Holloway, a hacker who's part of DedSec, this quirky little crew fighting against big corporations. But unlike the first game's overly serious tone, this one is bright, chaotic, and doesn't take itself too seriously. San Francisco is your playground, and wow, does it look good. The streets feel alive, there are street performers, random NPCs having arguments, and all the little details that make it feel like more than just a map. You can climb rooftops, zip through traffic, or just wander around messing with people's cars. I mean, it's impossible not to laugh when you hack a car and send it speeding off into chaos. The hacking system is where the magic happens. The amount of stuff you can mess with is wild. You can set traps, cause blackouts, or remotely control vehicles. Missions let you get creative to sneak in with your drone, go lab with guns blazing, or just sit back and hack your way to victory. It's all about doing things your way, and that's what makes it so fun. Marcus is a great lead, charming, funny, and full of personality. He's such a good change of pace from the broody protagonist of the first game. His crew is just as memorable. Wrench, with his emoji mask and chaotic energy, is impossible not to like, and Sitara and Josh add a lot of heart to the group. Their banter makes everything feel more alive, like you're part of a team, not just running solo. The missions are a blast. They're creative, from infiltrating a tech giant's HQ to pulling off elaborate pranks on a smug billionaire. And then there's all the side stuff, racing drones, tagging graffiti, or just hacking random NPCs for laughs. The game is full of moments where you just want to stop and mess around. Watch Dogs 2 doesn't try to be deep or groundbreaking, it just wants you to have fun, and it nails that. It's silly, it's chaotic, and it's one of the most creative open world games out there. If you're looking for a game that lets you go wild while keeping things light and entertaining, it's an easy pick. Batman Arkham City. Batman Arkham City is the perfect blend of being a detective, a martial artist, and just straight up Batman. The game drops you into a massive chunk of Gotham turned into a sprawling, lawless prison, and from the moment you glide into Arkham City, it's clear this is something special. The combat is smooth, simple to pick up, and endlessly satisfying. You're stringing together punches, counters, and gadget takedowns in a way that makes you feel untouchable. But it's not just about brawling. Stealth sections are just as fun, letting you stalk enemies from the shadows, use gadgets to cause chaos, and pick off thugs one by one until they're terrified. The city itself is packed with personality. It's not just a big map, it's a playground for Batman. Every rooftop, alley, and sewer feels like it has a story, whether it's a hidden Riddler trophy or a side mission that spirals into a bigger mystery. You'll stumble into encounters with iconic villains like Mr. Freeze, the Penguin, and of course the Joker. Speaking of which, Mark Hamill's Joker is incredible here, chilling, funny, and completely unpredictable.
Never heard of it.
The story hooks you right from the start. You're dealing with Hugo Strange and his mysterious Protocol 10, all while classic Batman villains are running wild in the city. It's dark, it's intense, and it's full of twists that keep you guessing. Plus, the voice acting with Kevin Conroy as Batman brings the whole thing to life. What really stands out are the side missions. They're not just filler, they're some of the most memorable parts of the game. You'll chase down Deadshot, track a mysterious serial killer, or help out allies like Catwoman in her own little storyline. Everything feels like it fits into the world, and it's all worth exploring. Arkham City nails the feeling of being Batman. The combat, the gadgets, the atmosphere, it all comes together perfectly. It's one of those games where you can get lost just gliding around the city, taking in the chaos and stopping to help whoever needs it. If you've ever wanted to be the Dark Knight, this game absolutely delivers. Fallout 3. Fallout 3 is the kind of game that throws you into a world and says, good luck, set in the post-apocalyptic ruins of Washington, D.C. It's part RPG, part survival story, and all about what you choose to make of it. You start as a vault dweller who steps out into the wasteland for the first time, and the moment you see the sun and the destroyed landscape stretching out in front of you, you know you're in for something special. The world is massive, but what makes it stand out is how packed it is with things to discover. You can stumble into an abandoned school filled with raiders, find a radio station run by the charismatic Three Dog, or end up in Rivet City, a massive aircraft carrier turned settlement. Every location feels like it has a story, whether it's a big quest or just a sad little skeleton clutching a teddy bear in a ruined house. Combat is a mix of real-time shooting and the VATS system, which lets you pause and target specific enemy body parts. It's gory, ridiculous, and surprisingly strategic. Taking out a super mutant with a well-placed headshot in slow motion never gets old. Plus, there's a ton of customization with weapons and gear, so you can really make your character feel unique. The story pulls you in from the start. You're searching for your father, but along the way you get caught up in the wasteland's chaos. Do you help rebuild society, or do you look out for yourself? The game doesn't tell you how to play, it gives you choices, and your decisions have consequences. Blowing up Megaton for the caps? That's on you. Helping the Brotherhood of Steel fight the Enclave? Go for it. It's your story to shape. The atmosphere is top-notch. The wasteland feels lonely but alive, with a haunting soundtrack and environmental storytelling that makes every step feel meaningful. The radio stations, especially Galaxy News Radio, add a layer of charm and nostalgia that contrasts beautifully with the harshness of the world. Fallout 3 isn't just a game, it's a world you get lost in. Whether you're exploring, battling, or just listening to old-timey tunes while walking into the unknown, it's the kind of game that sticks with you. It's bleak, it's messy, and it's a masterpiece of open world storytelling. Far Cry Primal. Far Cry Primal is Far Cry without the guns and explosions, but somehow it works. You're Takar, a caveman in the Stone Age, trying to build up your tribe while everything in the wild tries to kill you. It's all about surviving, hunting, and fighting rival tribes, and honestly, it's a lot of fun. The world of Oros is gorgeous. You've got dense forests, icy mountains, and open fields, all filled with wildlife that feels alive. Sometimes a deer runs past, and other times a pack of wolves decides your dinner. It's intense, but it makes the world feel dangerous in a good way. The combat is simple but satisfying. You've got spears, bows, and clubs, and everything feels brutal and up close. Taming animals is probably the coolest part. You can have a wolf fight by your side or ride a mammoth into battle. It's such a great way to make you feel like the king of the wild.
Expanse of land.
There's no modern dialogue, everyone speaks in this ancient language with subtitles, which is weird at first but makes everything feel authentic. The crafting is straightforward too. You gather stuff like wood, stone, and animal skins to upgrade weapons or build your village. It keeps you busy without feeling overwhelming. The story is pretty basic: survive, grow your tribe, and take down rival groups, but it gets the job done. It's not about complex characters or twists, it's about the experience of living in this raw, dangerous world. Far Cry Primal might not be for everyone, but if you're looking for something different, it's worth a shot. It's immersive, simple, and just plain fun to run around in a world where you're not at the top of the food chain. It's like a prehistoric sandbox, and once you get into it, it's hard to put down. Cyberpunk 2077. I have talked about this a lot, but here we go again. So Cyberpunk 2077 throws you straight into Night City, and wow, what a place to get lost in. You play as V, a mercenary caught in a wild mess involving a high-tech chip that promises immortality, and a rebellious rocker turned digital ghost. The story starts big and just keeps going with twists and moments that really stick with you. Night City is a beast. It's not just huge, it's alive. The streets are packed with NPCs going about their day, neon signs flashing everywhere, and little things that make it feel real. You might overhear a weird conversation, stumble into a gang fight, or just stand there gawking at the skyline. It's the kind of world where you stop mid-mission just to explore because it's that detailed. The gameplay is it's all about choice. You can shoot your way through, sneak around like a ghost, or go full cyberpunk with insane upgrades. Seriously, hacking a guy's brain mid-fight or slicing through enemies with mantis blades feels awesome. The customization is wild too. Your weapons, abilities, and even your body mods let you create a playstyle that's completely yours. But the characters, man, that's what sells it. Johnny Silverhand Keanu Reeves is such a complicated, unpredictable character, and his back and forth with V is one of the game's best parts. And the side quests, some of them hit harder than the main story. You'll meet characters that make you laugh, break your heart, or leave you questioning what you just did. Visually, it's jaw-dropping. Night City at night with the neon lights and rain-soaked streets is like stepping into a sci-fi dream. And the music, absolute fire. It nails the mood, whether you're in a high-speed chase or just cruising through the city. Yeah, the launch was rough, no question, but with all the updates, the game is in a solid place now. If you've been waiting to jump in, it's worth it. Cyberpunk 2077 is messy in spots, sure, but it's also bold, immersive, and full of moments that'll stick with you long after you're done. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Man, this one also just keep coming up, so The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is one of those games that doesn't just pull you in it, makes you want to live there minus the monsters obviously. You play as Geralt of Rivia, this grumpy but lovable monster hunter chasing after Ciri, his adoptive daughter, while trying to keep his head above water in a world that's falling apart. But what makes this game so special isn't just the story, it's how much heart and detail they packed into every inch of it. The world is insane. It's huge, sure, but it's also layered. You'll ride into a small village and suddenly be solving a murder or helping someone haunted by a ghost, or maybe you'll stumble across a random monster nest and get wrecked because you weren't ready. It's not like most open world games where side quests are just fetch missions here. Everything feels like it matters, like it's connected to the people and the world around them. Even the smallest tasks have depth. The combat, it's fun, though it takes a bit to get used to. You've got two swords, one for monsters, one for humans, and then there are signs, which are basically magical tricks, like setting dudes on fire or putting up a shield to block an attack. It's all about timing and preparation, which fits Geralt's whole vibe as this methodical, professional hunter, and honestly nothing feels better than taking down a beast you've been tracking for hours. But the characters, man, they make this game. Geralt's not just some stoic action hero, he's got layers. He's sarcastic, loyal, and surprisingly thoughtful when he needs to be. And the people around him, they're just as fleshed out. Yennefer, Triss, Dandelion, and even the random villagers you meet, everyone feels like they've got a life outside of you. The conversations, the drama, the humor, it's all so good that you'll find yourself caring about people you didn't expect to. The main story is epic, no doubt, but the side quests, they're on another level. There's this one quest where you help a ghost that ends up being this heartbreaking love story, or another where you're caught in a feud between werewolves and humans. Every quest feels like its own little adventure, and the choices you make can change how things play out. It's one of the few games where you feel like what you do actually matters. And the world is just damn beautiful, and I totally love it. Whether you're riding through the war-torn fields of Velen, drinking in the vibrant chaos of Novigrad, or exploring the snowy islands of Skellige, it's all stunning. The sunsets, the storms rolling in, the little details in every corner, it's hard not to stop and just take it all in. And the soundtrack is perfect. Those haunting violins and chants stick with you long after you're done playing. The thing about The Witcher 3 is that it's not just a game, it's an experience. You don't just play it, you feel like you've lived in it. It's not perfect, but honestly that doesn't even matter. It's a masterpiece because of how much care and love went into every part of it. If you haven't played it, you're missing out. Kingdom Come Deliverance. Kingdom Come Deliverance is one of those games that throws you into a medieval world and says, figure it out, you dumb hole. Well, not really, but hey, you're not a hero, you ain't a damn knight either, nor some freaking chosen one. You are just a dude called Henry, a blacksmith's son who starts off barely able to hold a sword. What makes this game so special is how grounded it is. No dragons, no magic, just the brutal, dirty, and fascinating reality of 1400s Bohemia. The world is ridiculously detailed. You're wandering through forests that feel alive, stumbling onto tiny villages that look like they were ripped straight out of history books, and running into random events that make the world feel unpredictable. It's not just pretty scenery, everything you see has purpose. Whether it's a road leading to a hidden mill or a castle looming in the distance, it all feels real. The gameplay is, well, it's tough, no sugarcoating that. The combat system is like a medieval duel simulator. You're managing stamina, aiming your strikes, and trying not to get smacked in the face. At first it feels clunky, but once it clicks, it's incredibly rewarding. Winning your first proper sword fight feels like an actual accomplishment. And it's not just about combat, you'll be hunting, picking locks, and even learning to read, which takes actual in-game effort.
You're one of my most talented pupils.
The story is surprisingly personal. You're not saving the world, you're just trying to get revenge for your family while navigating a world full of politics, war, and people way above your pay grade. Henry's journey feels grounded, and the characters you meet along the way are well written and memorable. Some will help you, some will try to screw you over, and all of them feel like they belong in this world. What stands out the most is the realism. You're not eating random herbs to heal instantly, you need food, sleep, and proper armor to survive. Even your clothes matter if you're walking walking around in dirty rags, don't expect nobles to take you seriously. It's all about immersion, and the game nails it. Kingdom Come Deliverance isn't for everyone. It's slow, challenging, and can feel overwhelming at first. But if you're into detailed, realistic open worlds and love the idea of really living in a historical setting, this game is worth every minute. It's a rough, beautiful, and unforgettable dive into medieval life. Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is one of those games that grabs you with its beauty and doesn't let go. Set in feudal Japan, you play as Jin Sakai, a samurai fighting to reclaim his homeland from a Mongol invasion. The story is all about honor, loyalty, and the cost of survival, but what really shines here is the world. Tsushima Island is breathtaking. Rolling fields of golden grass, cherry blossoms floating through the air, dense bamboo forests. It's one of the most stunning open worlds I've ever seen. And it's not just pretty, it's alive. Animals lead you to hidden shrines, the wind guides you instead of a map, and every corner feels like it has a secret waiting to be found. The combat is incredible. At first, it's all about samurai duels, timing your strikes, parrying perfectly, and taking enemies down with precision. But as Jin embraces the ghost path, you unlock stealth abilities, letting you take out enemies with sneaky assassinations or tools like smoke bombs and kunai. It's a constant balance between sticking to samurai traditions or doing whatever it takes to win. Both styles feel satisfying, and switching between them keeps things fresh. And the story hits hard. Jin's struggle between following the samurai code and becoming the ghost is at the heart of the game, and the characters around him like Yuna, who pushes him towards survival, or Lord Shimura, who clings to honor, make it even more emotional. It's not just about fighting Mongols, it's about the choices Jin has to make and the consequences of those choices. The side quests are worth diving into too. You'll help villagers, track down legendary warriors, and unravel personal stories that add depth to the world. Even small tasks feel meaningful because they're tied to the people and culture of Tsushima. Now, one small complaint: some side quests were pretty bland and repetitive. Enemy were also limited. I found the game lacking in that aspect. But other than that, like visual, absolutely stunning. The game is like a moving painting. The soundtrack, with its traditional Japanese instruments, adds so much atmosphere to every moment, whether you're in a tense fight or just riding through a peaceful meadow. Also, I recently played the Iki Island and it was absolutely beautiful, so make sure to give it a try too. Ghost of Tsushima isn't just a game, it's an experience. It's beautiful, emotional, and so immersive that you'll lose hours just exploring and taking it all in. If you've ever wanted to step into a samurai's shoes and fight for something bigger than yourself, this is the game to play. Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2. What can I even say that hasn't been said already 100 times? Cause damn man. This thing is the ultimate game of all time for me. It's a journey that pulls you into the Wild West and makes you feel like you're actually living it. You play as Arthur Morgan, an outlaw in the Van der Linde gang, trying to survive in a world that's leaving outlaws behind. It's emotional, slow in the best way, and full of little moments that make it unforgettable. The world is huge, beautiful, and feels alive in a way that few games manage. You've got snowy mountains, swamps filled with gators, rolling plains, and dusty towns straight out of a western. It's not just about size, it's about how much life there is. You'll run into strangers needing help, stumble on hidden secrets, or just watch a random sunset that stops you in your tracks. Every detail, from the trails in the snow to the sound of your boots on wooden planks, pulls you deeper in. Arthur is one of the best characters I've played as in any game. He's tough but thoughtful, with a moral struggle that hits hard. The gang too is full of memorable people. Dutch, with his endless schemes, John, trying to find his place, and Sadie, who's just a badass. Hanging around the camp, listening to their stories, or playing cards with them adds so much to the experience. It's not just a story about outlaws, it's a story about out people.
Get down here now!
The gameplay gives you so much freedom. You can rob trains, go fishing, hunt legendary animals, or just ride your horse across the map with no real goal in mind. The gunfights are intense and satisfying, especially when you use Deadeye to slow time and line up shots, and the little details like grooming your horse or choosing what kind of coat to wear in the cold make it feel more personal. The pace of the game is slow, but that's what makes it special. It doesn't rush you. You're encouraged to take your time, whether that's sitting by a campfire or wandering into a random saloon to see what's happening. It's not a game that wants you to blaze through it, it wants you to live in it. And the music, it's perfect. The soundtrack swells at just the right moments, whether you're riding across a field or in the middle of a shootout, combined with the incredible visuals, the sunsets, the storms, the sheer beauty of the landscape. It's impossible not to get swept up in it. Red Dead Redemption 2 is the kind of game that stays with you long after you finish. It's not just about action or story, it's about the little moments and the time you spend in its world. It's not just a Western game, it's a masterpiece.
It is us or him.
The Division 2. The Division 2 is a game that hooks you with its tactical combat and keeps you playing with its endless loot grind. Set in a post-apocalyptic Washington, D.C. after a deadly virus outbreak, the world feels chaotic and dangerous. You're an agent of the Division trying to restore order, and everything from the missions to the atmosphere makes it feel like you're fighting to save what's left. The world is surprisingly beautiful for a place falling apart. D.C. is packed with detail-overgrown streets, abandoned landmarks, and makeshift camps that tell a story without saying a word. It's the kind of game where you'll constantly stop to admire the little things, like a reflection in a puddle or graffiti on a crumbling wall. The way the seasons and weather change adds even more life to the environment. The combat is where the Division 2 really shines. It's all about cover-based shooting, and it feels incredibly satisfying. You've got to think strategically when to move, when to flank, and how to use your skills and gadgets like drones and turrets to turn the tide. Enemies don't just charge at you, they use cover and tactics, which keeps you on your toes. Loot is everywhere and it's addicting. Guns, armor, mods, you're constantly finding new gear, tweaking your loadout, and chasing better stats. The game gives you so many ways to customize your build that it's easy to spend hours fine-tuning your setup to suit your playstyle. The missions are fun and varied, with big set pieces that make you feel like you're in the middle of a high-stakes firefight. Whether you're clearing out a museum or defending a settlement, the action always feels intense. The endgame content is where it really opens up, with strongholds, raids, and challenges that keep things fresh long after you finish the main story. One thing that stands out is how great it feels to play with friends. The co-op experience is seamless, and coordinating with a team to take down tough enemies or tackle challenging missions makes everything even better. If you prefer solo, the game still works, but it's clear the best moments are when you're working together. The Division 2 isn't trying to reinvent the wheel, it just does what it does really well. It's a great mix of tactical shooting, exploration, and that just one more mission loop. If you're into loot-driven games with solid mechanics and a detailed open world, it's absolutely worth checking out. Grounded. Grounded is like a childhood fantasy come to life if your fantasy involved being shrunk down to the size of an ant and trying not to get eaten by spiders. Set in a suburban backyard, you and up to 3 friends are stuck as tiny kids trying to survive, figure out how you got there, and hopefully return to normal size. It's equal parts survival game, adventure, and sheer terror seriously. Those spiders are no joke. The backyard is incredible. It's not just a setting, it feels like its own little world. Blades of grass tower over you like trees, soda cans become landmarks, and every corner hides something new to discover. You might stumble into a ladybug casually strolling by, or get ambushed by a wolf spider lurking in the shadows. Exploring feels rewarding, especially when you find hidden areas or new resources that help you survive. The survival mechanics are straightforward but satisfying. You're gathering materials to craft tools, weapons, and shelters while managing hunger and thirst. It's all familiar if you've played survival games before, but the shrunken down setting makes everything feel fresh. Building a base out of leaves and sticks or crafting armor from bug parts never gets old.
Oh, and weapons!
combat is intense and nerve-wracking. Even a small insect like a mite can be a challenge early on, and facing something like a giant beetle or spider is downright terrifying. You'll need to craft better gear, learn enemy patterns, and sometimes just run for your life. The game doesn't hold your hand, but that's part of the thrill. The multiplayer is where Grounded really shines. Playing with friends makes everything more fun, whether you're working together to build a base, taking down a swarm of insects, or just goofing around. There's something hilarious about 4 tiny kids yelling at each other while a giant ant charges toward them. The story is surprisingly engaging too. There's a mystery to uncover about why you were shrunk and who's behind it, and it adds a nice layer of intrigue to all the survival chaos. You can dive into the narrative or just focus on exploring and building. It's up to you. Grounded is one of those games that feels unique and packed with charm. It's a little scary, a lot of fun, and a great time whether you're playing solo or with friends. If you've ever wanted to live out your honey, I shrunk the kids' fantasy, this is the perfect way to do it. Far Cry 5. Far Cry 5 takes the chaotic open world formula the series is known for and drops it into the heart of rural America. Set in the fictional Hope County, Montana, you're up against a doomsday cult led by the charismatic and chilling Joseph Seed. It's all about guns, explosions, and a surprising amount of weirdness, and it works. The setting feels like its own character. Hope County is beautiful with sprawling fields, dense forests, and winding rivers. You'll come across small towns, farms, and creepy cult outposts, each with its own vibe. The mix of natural beauty and the cult's presence creates this unsettling contrast. You're exploring this peaceful looking place, but danger is always around the corner. The gameplay is exactly what you'd expect from Far Cry. You're taking over outposts, hunting wildlife, and blowing up everything in sight. The combat is solid, with plenty of weapons to choose from and fun ways to cause mayhem. Want to sneak in with a bow? Go for it. Prefer to drive a truck loaded with explosives straight into the enemy? That works too. The freedom to approach missions your way is one of the game's best features. The story leans heavily into the cult theme. Joseph Seed and his family of lieutenants are some of the most memorable villains in the series. Their sermons and interactions with you are unsettling, and the game does a good job of making them feel like a genuine threat. The plot isn't groundbreaking, but it has enough twists and crazy moments to keep you hooked. One of the best parts is the companions you can recruit. Whether it's Boomer, the loyal dog who steals weapons from enemies, or Cheeseburger, a massive bear who mauls anything in sight, they add a lot of personality to the game. Plus, they're actually useful in combat, which is a bonus. Far Cry 5 doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it doesn't need to. It's a game that knows what it is of fun, over-the-top sandbox with plenty of action and chaos. If you're in the mood for a game where you can blow things up, take on a creepy cult, and explore a gorgeous world, this one's a great choice. Dragon's Dogma 2. Dragon's Dogma 2 builds on everything that made the original special dynamic combat, a detailed world, and its unique pawn system, but it also comes with its fair share of baggage. Yeah, the launch was rough. Bugs, performance hiccups, and some players struggling to even load the game properly. Let's just say it wasn't the smoothest start. But here's the thing, if you stick with it, Dragon's Dogma 2 offers something incredible. The combat is as good as ever, maybe even better. If you've never played Dragon's Dogma before, imagine an action RPG where every fight feels personal. You're not just swinging a sword, you're climbing onto a griffin, hacking away at its wings mid-flight, or timing a perfect magic spell to nuke an entire swarm of goblins. It's visceral, it's chaotic, and it's incredibly rewarding when you nail it. The pawns are back to your AI control companions, and they're way smarter this time around. They don't just follow you, they learn from you. If you keep fighting the same kind of enemy, they'll start figuring out better strategies, calling out weaknesses, and even reminding you of what worked last time. It's like having a mini squad that actually contributes instead of just standing around. Now, Let's talk about the world. It's massive, but more importantly, it feels alive. Every town, forest, and dungeon has something worth checking out. The game doesn't just hand you markers and say, go here. It encourages you to wander and stumble into moments that feel unique, like finding a hidden cave with loot you didn't expect, or running into a monster way above your level and realizing you need to run for your life. The story goes deeper this time, which is a big upgrade from the original's more straightforward plot. It's still centered around the dragon, but now there are layers of politics, factions, and choices that make you feel like you're genuinely impacting the world. And let me tell you, some of the twists hit hard. Visually, the game is stunning. The re-engine makes everything pop, armor glinting in the sunlight, monsters looking absolutely terrifying up close, and landscapes that make you want to stop and just take it all in. It's a world you want to live in, even with all the deadly creatures lurking around. Here's the bottom line: Dragon's Dogma 2 had a rocky start, but it's worth pushing through. The combat, the exploration, and the sheer sense of adventure make it a standout in the RPG genre. If you're a fan of the first game or just love the idea of battling massive monsters in a detailed fantasy world, this is a ride you don't want to miss. Horizon Forbidden West. Horizon Forbidden West takes what made the first game great and cranks it up, offering a bigger, more beautiful world to explore and plenty of new challenges to keep you hooked. You're back as Aloy, the red-haired badass on a mission to save a world that's teetering on the edge of collapse. This time, the stakes are even higher, and the journey takes you into the mysterious Forbidden West. First off, the world is jaw-droppingly gorgeous. The landscapes are insanely detailed, from lush jungles and sandy beaches to ruined cities reclaimed by nature. You'll stop constantly just to take it all in. The water in particular is stunning, and with the addition of underwater exploration, you'll be diving into lakes and oceans to uncover even more secrets. The gameplay feels tighter and more varied. Combat still has that satisfying mix of strategy and action, where you're scanning machines for weak points and deciding whether to go for a stealthy takedown or an all-out fight. The new machines are wild, some are terrifying, and others are just straight up impressive in how they move and fight. And then there are the weapons. You've got new tools to mess around with, like the polecaster to climb faster and a glider that makes getting around so much more fun. The story is where the game really shines. Aloy is still trying to figure out the mystery of the old ones while dealing with a world full of political tensions and personal betrayals. The characters around her feel more fleshed out this time, and the stakes are much more personal. You'll meet allies that make you care about the outcome, and the villains are more layered than your typical bad guys. Side quests and activities are a huge step up. They're not just filler, they feel meaningful. Whether you're helping a tribe defend their territory, uncovering secrets of the past, or taking down a massive thunderjaw, everything feels tied to the world and its story. Plus, the new skill trees let you tailor Aloy's abilities to your playstyle, which makes leveling up feel even more rewarding. The game isn't perfect, it's massive, and sometimes the pacing can feel a little stretched, but the good far outweighs the minor annoyances. Whether you're gliding over a stunning vista or locking horns with a machine 3 times your size, it's an adventure you won't forget. Horizon Forbidden West is a masterclass in open world design. It's gorgeous, emotional, and full of moments that remind you why games like this are so special. If you loved Zero Dawn or just want a world you can lose yourself in, this is a must play. Enderal Forgotten Stories. Enderal isn't just a mod for Skyrim, it's a full-blown RPG masterpiece that stands on its own. Built on Skyrim's engine, it takes you to a completely new world with its own lore, characters, and story. If you're into games that are deep, dark, and brimming with atmosphere, Enderal is a journey you absolutely need to take. The first thing that hits you is the tone. Where Skyrim often feels like a grand adventure, Enderal is heavier, more introspective. The world is beautiful, but there's this undercurrent of tension and tragedy running through everything. You'll see gorgeous landscapes, lush forests, snowy peaks, and eerie ruins, but there's always a sense that something is a little off. It pulls you in and makes you want to explore every inch of it. The story is where Enderal shines the most. It's layered, complex, and isn't afraid to get philosophical. You play as someone haunted by mysterious visions and thrown into a world on the brink of collapse. The game doesn't just hand you a hero's journey, it challenges you to question everything from your choices to the nature of the world itself. The writing is sharp, and the characters feel real, with motivations and flaws that make them memorable.
You have to actually endure something for most of your life.
Gameplay-wise, it builds on Skyrim's foundation but adds its own twists. The leveling system is completely revamped. You'll earn experience points by completing quests and exploring, not just by swinging a sword at wolves. There's a focus on choosing specific paths, magic, stealth, or melee that feel more meaningful because of the way skills are handled. The survival mechanics, like needing food and sleep, add to the immersion without feeling like a chore. The quests are another standout. Even the side quests have depth and often lead to unexpected places. One moment you're investigating a missing person, and the next you're unraveling a conspiracy or facing off against something straight out of a nightmare. It's not about ticking boxes on a map, it's about getting lost in stories that matter. The best part? It's free if you own Skyrim. But don't let that fool you into thinking it's some throwaway project. This is a full-fledged RPG experience, crafted with care and love. If you're craving a deep, emotional game with a world that feels alive and a story that makes you think, Enderal is absolutely worth your time.
You're losing your mind, just like Sister Pride did.
Dying Light 2. Dying Light 2 takes the zombie survival formula of the first game and turns it into something bigger, more ambitious, and way more chaotic. You're Aiden Caldwell, a guy with a mysterious past who's thrown into a city torn apart by warring factions and of course the undead. It's part survival game, part parkour playground, and part moral dilemma simulator. And when it works, it really works. Let's start with the parkour. It's incredible. The city is your playground, and getting around is half the fun. Running across rooftops, vaulting over obstacles, and using grappling hooks to swing across gaps is smooth and satisfying. Every movement feels fluid, and the verticality of the world makes exploring an absolute blast. When you're being chased by a horde at night and just barely make a jump to safety, it's a rush like no other. The combat is brutal and messy in the best way. It's mostly melee focused, so you'll be smashing zombies and people with makeshift weapons like spiked bats or electrified machetes. Every hit feels impactful, and the dismemberment system is as gross as it is satisfying. There's a lot of room for creativity too. You can modify weapons to deal elemental damage or set traps to take out groups of enemies. The world itself is gorgeous in a grim kind of way. The city feels alive even though it's falling apart. During the day, it's almost peaceful. You're scavenging for supplies, helping survivors, and climbing to high points just to take in the view. But at night, everything changes. The streets belong to the infected, and you're constantly on edge, sprinting from UV light to avoid being overwhelmed. The RPG elements are deeper this time around. Leveling up your parkour and combat skills feels meaningful, and you can build Aiden to fit your playstyle. Want to focus on brutal takedowns? Go for it. Prefer being the fastest guy in the room? And that works too. The gear system adds another layer, letting you mix and match equipment to boost specific stats. Now, the game isn't without its flaws. The narrative can feel a bit uneven at times, and some of the characters don't land as well as they could. There were also some technical hiccups at launch, but most of that has been ironed out with updates. The good news? The core gameplay is so much fun that it's easy to look past these issues. Dying Light 2 isn't perfect, but it nails what matters most: the freedom to explore, the thrill of combat, and the constant tension of surviving in a world overrun by the undead. If you loved the first game or just want a fast-paced, action-packed adventure, this one's definitely worth your time. Supraland. Supraland is one of those games that feels like a hidden gem. At first, it looks like a simple, colorful indie game, but once you start playing, it hooks you with its clever design and constant surprises. It's a mix of exploration, puzzles, and light combat, all wrapped up in this charming little world that feels like a giant toy box. The world is so much fun to explore. You're this tiny character in a backyard-like environment where everything looks handmade, almost like you're running around in someone's imagination. It's bright, quirky, and packed with things that make you want to stop and just look around. Every corner has some little secret or puzzle that makes you go, wait, how do I get up there? The puzzles are where the game really shines. They're the kind that make you feel smart when you figure them out. You'll be using your tools like a gun or a cube generator in ways that aren't immediately obvious, but when it clicks, it's so satisfying. The game doesn't hold your hand or give you big hints, which makes solving things even more rewarding. You're constantly thinking, experimenting, and trying new ideas, and it keeps you engaged the whole way through. Combat isn't the main focus, but it's fun when it pops up. You start with basic attacks, but as you explore and upgrade, you get stronger and more creative ways to deal with enemies. It's a nice break from the puzzles and adds a bit of excitement to the mix. What I love most is how playful the whole thing feels. The humor is great, there's a lot of silly dialogue and goofy moments that made me laugh. The game doesn't take itself seriously, and that lighthearted tone just adds to the fun. The best part is the sense of freedom. The game doesn't hold you back or tell you exactly where to go. It trusts you to figure things out, and that makes every discovery feel earned. You're always rewarded for being curious, whether it's finding a hidden upgrade or unlocking a new path. Supraland is just a joy to play. It's creative, challenging in all the right ways, and packed with personality. If you're into exploration, clever puzzles, and games that don't take themselves too seriously, this one's absolutely worth checking out. It's the kind of game that makes you smile the whole way through.